going to court.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done, what a lot of us, I shouldn't say a lot of us, what some of us are doing, we say, if we have friends that end up in family court, we will go. Because a person should never go to family court by himself or herself, and a friend will never let that happen. Because there are too many things with the rituals and everything else that are completely evil, that the attorneys and the judges, they're okay with, and the legislators, they've written these laws. Oftentimes the legislators who pass these laws are also attorneys who are going to later on profit from the laws that they've written when they go back to their practice. But I think that we have to call it out. I think that we have to talk about reform, and I think that we cannot abandon people that are there. And I think that the other thing is, I know every story, even right now, people can say, oh, she's just saying that because she's on camera. Whatever the case is,
There's a lot of judges out there. I get it.
Yeah.
And I used to be someone that used to think too, like, this could never happen. And then it happened to me. And then I realized if it can happen to me, it can happen to someone else.
Yeah.
And I would like to see change, because this is my lifetime. And if it's this bad, it's just going to get worse.
Right. And that's what we fight for too, is to say that, there are things that are going to have to change. I do not want to see this evil, wicked system around for my grandkids. And it's because of this evil, wicked system that I haven't seen my grandkids now for about 6.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And that's why I've said my revenge was going to be to go after the system. It's a very healthy revenge, because this should never happen to people. And even innocent people lose access to their children, to their grandchildren, and attorneys take money. And the judges, they're still friends with their attorney buddies, and I've seen the things happen, but we have to speak up against this. So I want to thank you for speaking up, and I'm sure, based on the stuff that you've told me, there's so much more that you could talk about right now.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many names that you're probably saying, please let me put those names out there.
I want to put them out there, but I didn't put their names out yet.
I noticed, I saw that, and I respect you for that. But I think that what you need to do as well is, when you're there to court, reach out to people, say, come and see what's going on here.
But they won't allow anybody to go. They won't allow, so they've been doing all the hearings by Zoom. They wouldn't even let my daughter in the hearing, and that's another thing, her rights, they say, are terminated by signature, right? But they haven't had a final order. And they still won't even let her attend the hearings.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. And furthermore,
they're blocking us out, like anyone. No, so I don't know what's happened to this open court thing, but they're not letting people in.
Yeah, the Constitution of Texas does say that the courts shall remain open. And also, we have a right, not just a right, to see how our courts are operating, because they are our courts. We're paying for them with taxpayer money. We are the people who are, in many instances, electing the judges. Some are appointed, but they are our courts. And the only check on the judiciary against judicial abuse and injustice is when we, the people, are in there, and we can review the judges, we can complain about the judges, we can expose the judges, and we can also talk about the attorneys. So to me, there are two different courts that we're looking at here. There are the family courts, which are the wild, wild west, no constitution. They can do whatever they want to. They're very abusive, but they're the courts that's where they operate. We operate in the courts of public opinion. And the thing is that the judges and the attorneys, they can't come into the court of public opinion. The moment that we do, we can sue them, because we are allowed to discuss them, and we need to be able to discuss them further. And if you're watching, if you're involved in something like this, what I would say is you've got to document things. What I've started to tell people right now is you've got to write a timeline. These are the things that happen, and put it in a sequential order so somebody can follow it easily. Put down names, put down facts. And you may be tempted to, well, let's not talk about the bad stuff. You've got to put it out there too. At least have another file or something like that, so that people aren't being surprised by your story or anything. But a lot of these things that are taking place, you have people that themselves have a lot of baggage, skeletons in their lives. And now they are self-righteous, and they're doing these things. You've got people who have never had kids, who are taking kids and basically kidnapping kids and giving them to somebody else. And there are some kids that, from what I've heard, now I cannot prove this, but I've heard that there are financial payments that take place in these courts.
Yes.
I've also heard too that sometimes different people would like to have kids with certain physical characteristics.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, they put my grandchildren, the ones that were adopted. I found my grandson on a website. He was being put up for potential adoption before he was ever even adopted or even at that stage.
Wow.
You could pick them out by eye color, I think, at that time. You could pick out exactly what gender you want, what nationality you want, their age, if you want siblings, do you want one or two, and they're all over the website.
Wow.
And
Wow.
this is like literally a picture show, and you get to read a story about them, how old they are, and everything. And my grandson's face was right there. That was heartbreaking.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. So when is your next court hearing?
Don't know. I know the next is supposed to be trial, but the judge has had a briefing in her office that's not been taken care of. It's been sitting there since the 14th. Today is the 2nd. Still hasn't been done.
Okay.
So I don't even know if they'll have a hearing on that based after she does her decision. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we can come back and revisit about the whole thing. I know right now you've kept names out.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got it.
But I mean,
But I think that there are some things that we're going to eventually have to mention names. And I'm sorry to say that, because these judges look at like, well, why do you have it in for me? Why do you have it in for him? No.
Yeah.
If you act with integrity, and if you actually do right, we will praise you. But too often we see judges that their power trips go to their head because they're the judge of their own court. Same with attorneys, same with guardian ad litems, same with CPS workers. And we must take down the system. And when I say take down, I'm not talking about what people, you're just being violent. No, we're talking about this is unjust completely. We must reform. We must have court reform. We might have family court reform. In fact, family court abolition would probably be a good place to start, and then rebuild from there. But I also think that these judges should have their courts open for at least one day a quarter, so that they can hear from the people who has had to suffer under their judgments, so that they can maybe have their own nightmares about what they have done by acting in such unjust manners.
Right.
And what I would say too is have those open to the public and broadcast them, so that the judges can learn to judge better, instead of looking out maybe for their attorney friends. And like you said, I mean, I don't like this person, so I'm going to decide against him. I like this person, I'm going to decide with her or him.
yeah.
So anyway, Amanda, I'm so sorry for the situations that you're going through.
Thank you.
We will get together again, and I know that you have a lot of paper here that we just didn't get to go through right now. I know you have a lot more experiences.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because the moments that somebody listens to you, you just want to talk about everything, but then it becomes a lot of disjointed. So thank you for keeping it more or less, on track here.
I do appreciate you doing this too and letting me get it out, because it means a lot.
Is there anything else that you want to communicate to people that are listening right now?
I just want to tell everybody, don't give up, don't quit fighting, for what you believe in. Like I've always said, what's worth the price is worth the fight, or vice versa.
Right.
And if you're a grandparent and you're going through something like this, just don't give up.
Right.
Changes have to be made, and it starts with us making that change.
Right, and I think the thing about grandparents is this. If you're a grandparent, you are part of a big voting block. You have a lot, many of you have resources, and I've seen some people try to say, grandparents are just trying to sue the parents and trying to take the kids. That's not what's going on here. For the most part, there may be some bad grandparents, just like there are some bad parents and some bad judges. I'm never a bad judge, right? But we have to look at what the majority of people are doing here. And grandparents, what I found, and I think that what many grandparents find, is that they have a love for their grandchildren, that no matter how much they love their children, it's a different type of love for the grandchildren.
It's a feeling I can't, if you were to ask me to rate it with a word, there's no word that describes it.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but the love I have for my grandchildren it's just a different type of love, and I would do anything to protect them just as much as I would of my own children, and
Yeah.
they mean everything to me.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope that this will help to help a little bit anyway.
It helps me to get this off my chest, and for people to see that this is really going on.
Yeah, and I think what people don't understand as well is that when you're going under it, the accusations and the way people view you also impact you.
Yeah.
And many people get silenced by it because they're afraid to speak out because of the things that will go through everybody's mind. It
Right.
takes courage to speak out. It takes courage to stand. And but it can be part of a healing process too, and it can be part of the people that sometimes condemn you, if they ever go through it themselves, they learn to regret that they've ever said such things in the past.
Right.
So anyway, for all you grandparents out there, for all you parents, keep fighting. We'll keep doing what we can here. And thank you so much for listening.
And
Appreciate
don't
it.
forget to vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye now.
I appreciate it.
Sure.